There shall be showers of blessing, precious reviving again, over the hills and the valleys, sounds of abundance of rain, showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Blessings of wonders are falling, but for the showers we plead. There shall be showers of blessing, send them upon us, O Lord. Grant to us now our refreshing. Come and honor thy word. Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Blessings of wonders are falling, but for the showers we plead. There shall be showers of blessing, oh that today they might fall. Now as to God we're confessing, now as on Jesus we call. Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Blessings from wonders are falling, but for the showers we plead. Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Blessings of wonders are falling, but for the showers we plead. Heavenly Father, King of glory, the I am that is I am, the only true God, the one who was, the one who is, the one that is to come, the Almighty Father, the Almighty God, the one that has the key that can open that no man can shut, the one that can shut that no man can open. The Father of light, in him there is no darkness. We bless your name. We honor you, we adore you because you are our Father. Thank you for the privilege and the grace you are giving unto us, even to be in your presence at this very time. Be the accepted Father, in the mighty name of Jesus. King of glory, we have come with our empty vessels today. We pray that you fill us up in the mighty name of Jesus. I pray, King of glory, this service shall be a glorious one in the mighty name of Jesus. It shall be a service that blessing shall be released upon your children, and glory alone shall be to your holy name in the mighty name of Jesus. King of glory, we pray that you will bless your people richly today. In the mighty name of Jesus, as many of them that has come with one need or the other, I pray, King of glory, that you meet them at the very point of their need, even before they leave this place today, in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. We pray, Father, that you will manifest yourself, you will manifest your power, you manifest your glory in every aspect of today's service, in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Lord, Father, because I pray answering God. We give you glory forever, for in Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
A living soul in presence of God, shout hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
The hallelujah is too cold for my God. Are you ready to shout a thunderous hallelujah now? Shout hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Brethren, this morning I just want us to be in the mood of worshiping God this morning. Let's worship this only one God. Revelation 1:8, it says, I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending. That is the only one God. Why not lift up your hands this morning and say, Father, bless your name for everything you have done. From January to this moment, it has been God. The plan of enemy is so much indeed, but God Almighty, He rescued us from every plan and purpose of enemy. That is why this morning I would just want you to be in that mood of worshiping God. Lift up your spirit and soul to God Almighty for everything He has done, for what He's doing now, for what He's still going to do. It's worthy of our praise. Hallelujah. You are highly lifted up. There is no one like you. Hallelujah. Highly lifted up. There is no one like you. Hallelujah. You are highly lifted up. There is no one like you. Hallelujah. Your name is Yahweh. You're a miracle walking God. Your name is Yahweh. Yahweh, Yahweh. Yahweh. Your name is Yahweh. You are the miracle walking God. Your name is Yahweh. Yahweh, Yahweh. Oh yes, Lord, your name is Yahweh. You are the miracle working God. Your name is Yahweh. You are God from beginning to the end. There's no place for argument. You are God all by yourself. You are God. You are God from beginning to the end. There's no place for argument. You are God all by yourself. You are God. From beginning to the end. There's no place for argument. You are God all by yourself. You are the bar of Gilead. You are the rose of Sharon. You are my peace in the midst of the storm. You are the air I breathe. Oh Lord, you are the air I breathe. Oh Lord, you are. Sing that song from your heart. Sing that song because God Almighty, if you know it's the ear that you are breathing this morning, if you know because of God you are alive today, if you know that you have no power of yourself, if you know that the salvation of God is upon you, if you know that everything within you this morning is by the power of Almighty God, why not give Him thanks? Why not give Him glory? Why not give Him honor? Your presence, let it rain. your rain. Let it fall on me. Yeah, in your presence, Lord, let it rain. That they are all gathered in one accord, awaiting the Spirit of Almighty God. And God distributed Himself upon them, and the Spirit fell upon every one of them. From that moment, they received that power to witness for God. They received that strength to go out and proclaim Christ. Brethren, this morning, open your hearts, that the Spirit of God might come into your heart this morning. Ba 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 ba. Ba ba ba. Singing ba 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 ba. Oh, we are waiting for the promise of God. Oh, Lord, feel hallelujah. Come and see the Lord is good. Come and see the Lord is good. There is nothing He cannot do. Come and see the Lord is good. Come and see the Lord.
Come and see the Lord is good.
Come and see the Lord.
Come and see the Lord is good. There is nothing He cannot do. Come and see the Lord is good.
He gave me victory. He gave me peace of mind. There is nothing He cannot do. Come and see the Lord is good. Come and see the Lord.
Come and see the Lord is good.
Come and see the Lord.
Come and see the Lord is good. There is nothing He cannot do. Come and see the Lord is good.
have seen the Lord is good. I have seen the Lord is good. There is nothing he cannot do. I have seen the Lord is good. Come and see the Lord.
Come and see the Lord is good.
Come and see the Lord.
Come and see the Lord is good. There is nothing he cannot do. Come and see the Lord is good.
Hallelujah. Let's give our dancing offering to God this morning. There is nothing he cannot do. Come and see the Lord is good. Come and see the Lord.
Come and see the Lord is good.
Come and see the Lord.
Come and see the Lord is good. There is nothing he cannot do. Come and see the Lord is good.
Jesus is a mighty God.
He's a mighty God.
Jesus is a mighty
He's
God.
a mighty God.
He's a mighty, mighty Father.
He's a mighty God.
He's a super, super Father.
He's a mighty God.
He's a mighty, mighty, mighty.
He's a mighty God.
Oh, mighty, mighty, mighty.
He's a mighty God.
Oh, mighty, mighty, mighty.
He's a mighty God.
Jesus is a mighty
He's
God.
a mighty God.
Jesus is a mighty
He's
God.
a mighty God.
Every power bow before him.
He's a mighty God.
Every power bow before him.
He's a mighty God.
Jehovah
He
reigns.
reigns, he reigns.
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 You are lifted up.
Above the
You
God.
are lifted
Above
up.
the God.
Oh, you are lifted
Above
up.
the God.
Above principality.
Above the God.
Above every other
Above
God.
the God.
Above every imagination.
Above the God.
Above all the problems.
Above the God.
Above all circumstances.
Above the God.
Oh Lord, you are lifted
Above
up.
the God.
Oh, you are lifted
Above
up.
the God.
Jehovah
He
reigns.
reigns, he reigns.
Jehovah
He
reigns.
reigns, he reigns.
Jehovah reigns.
He reigns, he reigns.
Jehovah reigns.
He reigns, he reigns.
You are lifted up.
Above the God.
You are lifted
Above
up.
the God.
Oh God, you are lifted
Above
up.
the God.
Oh, you are lifted
Above
up.
the God.
You are God. You are not just big, oh. You are not just large, oh. You are a great God. You are God.
You are God. You are
You are
not just big, oh. You
You
are
are not just large, oh.
You are a great God.
You are God. You are God.
You are God. You are not just big, oh. You are not just large, oh. You are a great God.
You are big. You are big. You are big.
You are big, 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 big. Large, 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 large. Great, 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 great. You are a great God.
Hallelujah, somebody. You are going to show me how big is your God. If the space is not enough, just, make a room for yourself. Hallelujah. Are you ready? You are big. You are big. You are big. You are big.
You are big, 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 big. Large, 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 large. Great, 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 great. You are a great God.
Oh, you are big. You are big. You are big.
You are big, 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 big. Large, 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 large. Great, 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 great. You are a great God.
You are God.
You are not just king, oh. You are not just God, oh. You are a great God.
There is something that makes me come into your presence.
My helper.
There is something that makes me come into your presence.
My helper.
There is something that makes me come into your presence.
My helper.
You are my helper, oh.
My helper.
My helper, oh.
My helper.
You are my helper, oh.
My helper.
My helper, oh.
My helper. There is something that makes me come into your presence. My helper.
There is something that makes me come into your presence.
My helper.
There is something that makes me come into your presence.
My helper.
My helper, oh.
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 My helper. There is something that makes me come into your presence. My helper.
Carry me, they go. Jehovah, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Carry me, they go. Jehovah, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Aha, hallelujah. I say carry me, they go. Baba, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Carry me, they go. Baba, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Carry me, they go. Baba, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Carry me, they go. Baba, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Ah, move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward,
Move me
forward.
forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Ah, carry me, they go. Jehovah, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Carry me, they go. Baba, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Carry me, they go. Baba, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Carry me, they go. Baba, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Ah, move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Ah, move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Ah, move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Move me forward, Baba, move me forward, forward, forward.
Carry me, they go. Jehovah, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
Carry me, they go. Jehovah, carry me, they go, they go, they go.
I will bless the Lord,
Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, bless His holy name.
I will bless the Lord, bless the Lord.
Bless the Lord,
Oh, my soul,
and all that is within me, bless His holy name.
He has done great things. Yeah.
He has done great things. He has done great things. He has done great things. Bless His holy name.
Jesus is a mighty
He's a
God.
mighty God.
Hallelujah. Jesus is a mighty
He's
God.
a mighty God.
He's a mighty
He's
God.
a mighty God.
Oh, mighty, 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 mighty.
He's a mighty God.
Oh, he's a mighty
He's
God.
a mighty God.
Every power bow before him.
He's a mighty God.
All power bow before him.
He's a mighty God.
Jesus is a mighty
He's a
God.
mighty God.
He's Jesus is a mighty God. Oh, he's a mighty God. Oh, he's a mighty God. All power bow before him. All power bow before him. All power bow before him. Holy are you, Lord, all creation. Worthy, 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 worthy is your name. We worship your majesty. Sing awesome God, awesome God, great you are God, mighty are your miracles, standing on of your holy name. Lord, we bow, Lord, we bow and worship you. Sing awesome God, awesome God, awesome God, great thou art. You are God. You are God, mighty are your miracles, we stand in awe of your holy name. Lord, we bow, Lord, we bow and worship you. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Oh, my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh, my soul, I worship your holy name. Ọlọ́run tó dá àwọn òkè yìí gbà mí. Ẹ̀yin ni mo fi ọpẹ́ mi fún. Ọlọ́run tó dá àwọn. Worship God this morning from the bottom of your heart. Appreciate God Almighty. You've done so much for me. I cannot tell it all. You've done so much for me.
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Praise the living Jesus. Please rise as one of our feet as we are going to bless this God. I have seen the Lord goodness, His mercies and compassion. I have seen the Lord goodness. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. I have seen the Lord goodness, His mercies and compassion. I have seen the Lord's goodness. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. I have seen the Lord goodness, His mercies and compassion. I have seen the Lord goodness. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. Oh Lord, you have been so good. You are so good to me. Oh Lord, you are excellent in my life every day. Oh Lord, you have been so good. You are so Lord, you are mine. Excellent is your power. Lord, you are wonderful. My Lord, you are excellent. Excellent is your name. Baba, excellent is your mind. Lord, you are wonderful. My Lord, you are excellent. Oh Lord, you are been so good. You are so good to me. Oh Lord, you are excellent in our life every day. Oh Lord, you are been so good. You are so good to me. Oh Lord, you are excellent in our life. Heavenly Father, the I am that is I am, the rock of ages, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the ending. We bless you, we worship you, we honor your name. The scripture says, at the mention of the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow. We bless your name for the name Jesus that you are giving unto us, that whenever we call upon that name, we will receive answer to every of our prayers. Therefore, Father, we thank you for the prayers that has been answered. We thank you, Lord, Father, for the prayer that your children have offered unto you today, that we receive answers. Father, and even we pray that as we go into your word right now, you speak unto us. And at the end of the preaching, Father, your children will pray. I pray, King of Glory, that you answer speedily their prayers in the mighty name of Jesus. I soak myself in the blood of Jesus. I soak my voice in the blood of Jesus. And I soak the ears of your children in the blood of Jesus. I pray, Father, that every plan or strategy of the enemy to hinder anybody from getting the best from you today, we silence such powers in the mighty name of Jesus. I pray, King of Glory, that every spirit of buying and selling, we bind them, we cast them out in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, Father, because you are praying answering God. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Praise the living Jesus. Praise the living Jesus. Turn your Bible with me to the book of Psalm 51. The book of Psalm, chapter 51. We are going to read verse 11. Psalm 51, we are going to read verse 11. Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. By the special grace of God, we shall be considering a message this day titled, The Power of His Presence. The power of His presence. When we are talking of his presence, presence of who? We are talking of the power of God's presence. The power of God's presence. One of the greatest things that can ever happen to anybody in life is to have the presence of the Almighty God. Not the presence of pastor, not the presence of presidents of countries, not the presence of people in high authority, but we are talking about the presence of the Almighty God. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they are ignorant of the power of the presence of God. Foolishness has blindfolded a lot of people to the extent that they believe they can achieve a lot without God. Or some even believe that their achievement in life is with their power, but not of God. There are examples in the Bible. There are examples even in our contemporary world today that some people believe that their achievement is by their own power. Let's consider an example from the scripture in the book of Daniel, chapter 4. The book of Daniel, chapter 4. Let's read from verses 28 to 33. The book of Daniel, chapter 4. Let me read from verse 28. All this came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. The king spake and said, Is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty? A lot of people like that, they are still like that today. They believe that whatever they do is by their own achievement. This king began to boast. Said that, see this great Babylon. He believed that he has built that kingdom by his might and power. And let's go to verse 31. While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven, saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee, and they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, until his ears were grown like eagles' feathers, and his nails like birds' claws. Praise the Lord. That is an example of somebody who believed that his achievement is as a result of his own power. But in contrast to Nebuchadnezzar, from the scripture as well, there was a man who recognized the importance of the power of God's presence, and he earnestly prayed for it. This man we are talking about was Moses. If you remember the story of Moses very well, Moses was raised in the palace. Instead of enjoying in the palace, he preferred to be with the people of God because he knows the importance of God. And while he had the opportunity of leading the children of Israel out of Egypt to their promised land, he made a request from God because he understands the importance of the presence of God. Let's turn the Bible to the book of Exodus, chapter 33. The book of Exodus, chapter 33. We are going to read from verses 11 to 15. Exodus 33, I'll be reading from verses 11 to 15. And the Lord spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend. And he turned again into the camp, but his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man departed not out of the tabernacle. Verse 12. And Moses said unto the Lord, see, thou sayest unto me, bring up these people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast also found grace in my sight. Now therefore I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. And he said, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. Verse 15, take note. And he said unto him, if thy presence is not with me, carry us not up thence. Moses is telling God here. If you read from New King James Version, he's saying that if your presence does not go with us, do not bring us up from here. Moses knows that without the presence of God, going to promised land will be a great task. It shall be very difficult because he knows the importance of the power of God. He knew that without the presence of God, they will be directly exposed to dangers in their journey to the promised land. Brethren, many so-called Christians today, they are completely ignorant of the presence of the Almighty God. Many Bible study teachers, Sunday school teachers, church leaders, even pastors, they know nothing about the power of the presence of God. Or let me put it this way again. The so-called believers, when they are believers because of what they need from God, they need the presence of God when they need God most. When they get what they need from God, bye-bye to God. They don't need God anymore. Take, for instance, somebody that is looking for a job. Once they get that job, they don't need God anymore. Praise the Lord. A lot of people like that, when they need one particular thing or the other, when they get in from God, they say bye-bye to God. Brethren, to be ignorant of the power of God's presence is to live a life that is full of defeat and discouragement. It is better to have the power of God's presence with one than to be rich. I know somebody will be saying, what is pastor saying? That are you saying we should not be rich? What is the essence of your riches? What is the essence of your wealth when you have not the presence of God? It is better to have the power of God's presence with you than to be popular. A lot of people are popular in the world today without the presence of God. But do you know, you can be rich, you can be popular with the presence of God. You can get to anywhere and any height as far as God's presence is with you. When we are talking of riches in the world today, I still want you to tell me who is richer than Solomon? None. Bill Gates in those days used to be the richest man. He's no more the richest man. If you are current with what is going on in the world today, what am I saying? Despite what people labor for today, there can still not be someone who is as rich as Solomon. Praise the Lord. What I'm trying to say is that with the presence of God, you can attain any level. When we are talking of popularity, even in our contemporary world, we see men of God that whenever they want to visit some countries, the president of that country will have to come and welcome them. Which popularity is more than that? Praise the Lord. What I'm saying is that you can get to any level. You can attain any height as far as God's presence is with you. But I know some people might still be saying in their mind, why do I need the presence of God? Why do we need the presence of God? I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you need the presence of God. Number 1, turn your Bible with me to the book of Psalm 16, verse 11. The book of Psalm chapter 16, I'm going to read verse 11. Why do we need the presence of God? Psalm 16, verse 11. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Number one, the presence of God carries the fullness of joy. In other words, in the presence of God, there is abundance. There is fullness of joy. Whereas, outside his presence, there are multitudes of sorrow, sadness, frustrations, afflictions, discouragement, demons, distress, sickness, death, and other terrible things. No wonder some people in the world today, because they have not God, abiding with them, whenever they have challenges, the only thing they can think of is to go and commit suicide. It's happening. Suicide here, suicide there. It is really very dangerous to go out in the morning or at any time without the presence of God. The presence of God in your life is so significant that you are not supposed to sleep without it. What this means basically is that the presence of God should be in your life at every moment of time. I pray for you that you will never be without the presence of God at every moment of your life in Jesus' name. Why do we need God's presence? I said, number one, the presence of God carries the fullness of joy. Number two, the Lord is strong and mighty. Let's turn the Bible to the book of Revelation chapter 1 verse 8. The Lord is strong and mighty. Revelation chapter 1, I'm going to read verse 8. The scripture says, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. There are many battles to fight in life. Let me start from a small baby. When a baby is born, the baby needs to fight to know how to sit. Praise the Lord. I've seen a baby who was born, who was never able to sit on his own without support until that baby died. He was not able to sit. What I'm saying is that this life is full of what? Battles. Every stage of life, there is battle to fight. You need the presence of someone who is stronger than any of the opposing forces. You need someone who has never lost any battle. You need someone who cannot die. You need someone who will neither sleep nor slumber. It is possible, like some parts of Africa, you will have security in the house. The people in the house might be sleeping. They have security guard there watching over them. The security can sleep. Praise the Lord. Or even if they don't sleep, some people who are more powerful than the security men will come and say, oh boy, we are here. They tell him, bring your hand. They tie his hand, they tie his leg and say, sit there. What I'm saying is that you need someone. You need the presence of someone who has never lost any battle, who cannot die, who cannot sleep, who cannot even, will never slumber. And the only one that qualifies, the only one that has all these attributes or quality is the Lord God Almighty. That is why the Bible says in Isaiah chapter 59 verse 19, He says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. He said, when the enemy shall come like a flood, he said, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. This is the confidence that that young guy, that young David had, that he believed that if be permitted to fight Goliath, he would defeat him. The guy he was confident in the Lord. He knew that he had God as his ally. He had the abiding presence of the Almighty. He knows that the enemy he wanted to fight, he had all the weapons of war. Praise the Lord. And this guy believed that if I'm allowed to face this man, I'm going to fight him with the name of God Almighty, and I'm sure I'm going to win. We know the end of the story. David conquered Goliath. Have you ever think about it? How can someone, just ordinary stone, just stone, we enter somebody's head like this, and then we kill the person? That is what only God can do. The Lord is strong and mighty. Why do we need the presence of God? Number one, the presence of God carries the fullness of joy. 2, the Lord is strong and mighty. And 3, the Lord is the great helper. God is the great helper. Turn your Bible with me to the book of Hebrews chapter 13. The book of Hebrews chapter 13. We are going to read verses 5 and 6. Hebrews 13, I'll be reading verses 5 and 6. It says, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he had said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Verse 6, so that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear what man shall do unto me. Let's turn our Bible to the book of 1 Chronicles chapter 28. 1 Chronicles chapter 28. I'm going to read verse 20. 1 Chronicles 28. I'll be reading verse 20. 1 Chronicles chapter 28. Reading verse 20. And David said to Solomon, his son, be strong and of good courage, and do it, fear not, nor be dismayed. For the Lord God, even my God, will be with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee, until thou hast finished all the work for the service of the house of the Lord. You need God's help in every facet of your life. In your academics, you need God. In your career, you need God. In your marriage, you need God. In your finances, you need God. In your health, and even in the midst of challenges, you need the abiding presence of God. What am I saying? It is only those who have the presence of God that we have the direct access to the help of God. That one explains why a young slave girl can become a queen in a foreign land. That explains why someone who is a foreigner will be in Babylon and be among the rulers there. I'm talking of someone who is there as the favor of God and the king, and there was conspiracy against him. They threw him into lions' den. The presence of God is still with him there. That one explained why 3 guys were thrown into a fiery burning furnace, and there appeared unto them another, the 4th being, And the unbelieving king even said, I can see 4 people walking in the midst of this fire. And the image of the first person is like the image of the living God. What am I saying? It is only those who have the presence of God that will have direct access to the help that God can render. In conclusion, brethren, because we are going to pray, I have this to tell you. With God's presence, protection is sure. There will be abundance of joy. You will overcome trials and temptations. You will get answers to prayers. In order to be a winner or to be on the winning side, you need the presence of God. Please, never you go out of God's presence. At this will make your life to be exposed to satanic operations and manipulations. If you want to know, go and ask Samson. There is no way you went out from the presence of God that there will be no consequence. You are in the presence of God, never go out of his presence. Because outside the presence of God, remember I said, there is torture, there is problems, there is problems, sorrow, sadness. Life becomes miserable and mysterious when you are not with the abiding presence of God. What simply happens when you are not in the presence of God is that the umbrella of God's protection is removed from your life. That is why the psalmist pray a prayer where we started this message from in Psalm 51, verse 11 and 12. Psalm 51, verses 11 and 12. He said, cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit. I want you to rise up on your feet. Cast me not away from your presence, O Lord. Take not thy Holy Spirit from me, from me. Restore unto me thy joy of thy salvation, and renew thy spirit within me. Cast me not away, cast me not away from your presence. To take that song into prayer and say, Father, cast me not away from your presence. Let your presence continually be with me. In the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. At all times, Father, let your presence continually be with me. When I'm driving, when I'm in school, wherever I am, when I'm flying in the air, when I'm driving, wherever I am, Father, let your presence continually be with me. In the mighty name of Jesus. Let your presence continually be with me. In the mighty name of Jesus. Let your abiding presence be with me, King of glory. Whichever state you are, whatever condition you are, when you have the presence of God, you are sure of victory. You are sure of success. That is how you need to commit yourself to the hands of the Almighty God and say, Father, cast me not away from your presence. Let your presence continually be with me. In the mighty name of Jesus. Let your presence continually be with me. In the mighty name of Jesus. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray. I said during the course of the message that when you are not in the presence of God, what it means is that the umbrella of God's protection is removed. That is why you are going to say, Father, say, Father, say, Father, let not the umbrella of your protection be removed from my life. In the mighty name of Jesus. The umbrella of the protection of God must not be removed from your life. The umbrella of the protection of God must not be removed over your family. The umbrella covering your family must not be removed. Because if they are removed, you will be exposed to danger. That's why you need to cry to the Almighty God and say, Father, my family, my life, I'm committing unto you. Let not the umbrella of your protection be removed. In the mighty name of Jesus. Pray for every of your family members. Pray for your household. Pray for every of your loved ones. That the umbrella of the protection of God will not be removed from their life. In the mighty name of Jesus. When the umbrella of the protection of God is removed, that life is exposed to the attack of the enemy. Therefore, you need to pray. And say, Father, help me. Help me. I have no helper. I have no other person that can help me. Help me, Father, that your umbrella of protection will not be removed from my life. In the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, Father, because you are prayer answering God. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. The Bible says, can two walk together except they agree? It is possible for someone to want the presence of God, but there might be some things in the life of that person that will not attract the presence of God. That's why you need to pray and say, Father, anything present in my life that might want to hinder me to be in your presence, take them away from me. In the mighty name of Jesus. Some people are not praying that prayer. If Samson had that opportunity to pray this type of prayer, probably he wouldn't have died such a disgraceful death. You need to pray and say, Father, help me. Help me. Anything that might be in my life that may want to hinder me to be in your presence. Anything that will not allow your abiding presence to be with me. Father, remove such thing from my life. In the mighty name of Jesus. Let me tell you something. According to the scripture, it is not possible for you to be empty. Go and ask King Saul. When the Spirit of God left him, the devil's spirit came in place. The spirit of devil came and began to torment him. That is why you have to pray and say, Father, anything that might be in my life, is it greediness? Is it covetousness? Is it backbiting? What is that habit that might be in you that will not allow the abiding presence of God to be with you? Remember, God is holy. He that must serve him must be holy. Anything that will not allow you to live a holy life. Because if you can't live a holy life, there's no way you can enjoy the presence of God. That's why you need to pray and say, Father, help me. Help me, Father. Anything that might be in my life that will not allow me to live holy, to abide in your presence at all times. Father, take such thing away from my life. In the mighty name of Jesus. Take such thing away from my life. In the mighty name of Jesus. Take such thing away from my life. In the mighty name of Jesus.
Let's continue to pray that nothing will take us away from the presence of the Lord in the mighty name of Jesus. That whatever that thing might be that might be contending even with the place of God in our life, that the Lord God will deliver us in the mighty name of Jesus. Now I want us to stretch our hands towards the man of God that God has used again to dish out even his word even unto us this day. I want us to pray that the Lord God will continue to be with him. The presence of the Lord will continue to be upon his life. He will not move away from the presence of the Lord, that glorious assignment that the Lord God has committed unto his hands. I want you to pray that the strength to carry it out, that the Lord God will release unto him. He will not become tired in the mighty name of Jesus. That the anointing of the Lord will be fresh even upon him from time to time in the mighty name of Jesus. Father, we say thank you. We give you all the glory. In Jesus' mighty name we are prayed. In Jesus' wonderful name we are prayed. I want you to look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, make sure you stay in the presence of God. Don't walk away from the presence of God. It is dangerous. Praise the Lord. Praise Master Jesus. Do we have anybody worshiping with us for the first time? Do we have any first time in our midst? If this is your first Sunday joining us in Grace Sanctuary, anybody? Oh, please rise up on your feet, sir. We welcome you into Grace Sanctuary Church. Let's welcome them into our midst. Let's welcome them into our midst.
Welcome to Grace Sanctuary. You are welcome to Grace Sanctuary.
Let's welcome them. If you're happy to see them in our midst, I want you to walk up to them and welcome them.
By His grace, you are welcome to Grace Sanctuary. You are welcome to Grace Sanctuary. You are welcome to Grace Sanctuary. We enjoy God's love and abide by His grace. You are welcome to Grace Sanctuary. You are welcome to Grace Sanctuary. You are welcome to Grace Sanctuary. We enjoy God's love and abide by His grace. You are welcome to Grace Sanctuary.
We welcome you to Grace Sanctuary. We always call this place the solution ground because God is here to answer our prayers. So I will just download our programs to you. On Tuesday, we are always here for Digging Deep. It's more or less like Sunday school where we dig deep into the Word of God from 7 p.m. to 8:15 or 8:30 p.m. That time is when we have the opportunity to ask questions about the scriptures. Then on Thursday, we are here for prayer and revival hour. It's from 7 p.m. to about 8:15 p.m. also. That will give us enough time to pray and to raise our cry unto the Lord. And on Sunday, our service starts by 10 a.m. with Sunday school. And I pray that the Lord God that has brought you here, we establish you in the mighty name of Jesus. Please, immediately after the service, please wait. Some people will walk up to you to welcome you into our midst in a special way. Church, let's stretch our hands towards these wonderful people. The Lord God has brought them here for a reason. I want you to begin to prophesy into their lives that it shall be well with them in the name of Jesus, that every of their hearts cry that they have already raised even unto the Lord, that the Lord God will release unto them because they've stepped even into this sanctuary. I want us to pray that the Lord God will walk mightily even in their lives. The Lord God will crown them with favor in the mighty name of Jesus, and everything they so much desire, the Lord God will release unto them in the mighty name of Jesus. Father, we say thank you, for in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Thank you very much. You can have your seat. And also we want to welcome Mr. Peter's family. They just came back from Nigeria, so our mommy is there. Let's welcome them back into our midst. We're very happy to see you. God bless you. How was Nigeria? Any message for us? God is in control. Praise the Lord. Let's listen to the following announcements. Let us remember that our Digging Deep will be coming up this Tuesday from 7 p.m. to about 8:15 or 8:30 p.m., depending on the questions that we have to answer. because we don't like to carry over any questions. So please prepare yourself. 7 p.m. We're coming here for Digging Deep on Tuesday. And on Thursday, we will have a prayer and revival hour from 7 p.m. to about 8:15 p.m. And let us endeavor to make ourselves available. It's another opportunity to come into the presence of God. Don't deny yourself for that opportunity, because God is always here waiting for us. And we are also reminded that our night vigil will be coming up this Friday. So our church night vigil, the parish night vigil will be coming up this Friday, and time is 9:30 p.m. 9:30 p.m. this Friday is our parish night vigil. So we are reminded of our commitment to the church building project, and we're encouraged to continue to do so. So please don't let us give up. We are still looking around, and I know that God will make a way for us in the mighty name of Jesus. That building that is our own, God will direct us there in the mighty name of Jesus. We are reminded that we still have the POS terminal here, and it's over there to my right-hand side. Please, if you want to pay your tithe, your offering, remember to put the merchant's copy in the envelope, and the customer's copy is your home copy. So the merchant's copy goes into the envelope, and please address that envelope accordingly so that people that will be working on it will not have issues at the end of the service. Also, we have the 2019 Mini Olympics. Saskatchewan SK1 and SK2 will be conducting a Mini Olympics on Saturday, August 10th, starting at 10 a.m. The event is to select a team that will represent us in the Western Canada Games, which will be coming up on August 23rd to 25th. And the events that will take place include: 1, soccer, men and women; basketball, men and women; table tennis; track and field events. And the venue for both events will be here in Saskatoon. And as we approach that date, further details will be passed across to us. So please let's remember that Mini Olympics. Praise the Lord. The Men of Valor Annual Conference 2019 will be on October 10th to 12th in Saskatoon. So details to come later, but let us start preparing for that conference. Let's start preparing for that. Men of Valor Conference is holding in Saskatoon, so we are not traveling. So October 10th to 12th, let's prepare for those days. The Women Annual Conference for 2019, unfortunately, the women will be traveling to Calgary. We are staying here in Saskatoon. Women are going to Calgary. So women, buckle up. Amen. So the Women Annual Conference will be in Calgary on September 6th to 7th. Details to come later, but women, please, let's start marking those days on our calendar, and let's start adjusting our schedules. And also, the women should please wait behind after the service for a brief meeting. So all the women in the house, please wait after the service for a brief meeting. And also all the members of the building committee should wait after the service for a brief discussion as well. And we're reminded that we still have a prayer box at the back of the church for us to drop our prayer requests. So if you are trusting God for one thing or the other, and you want the Salvation Army to join you in prayers, write it on a piece of paper, drop into that prayer box, and the Salvation Army will pick them up and pray on them accordingly. And the God that answers prayer will answer our prayers in the mighty name of Jesus. And we're also reminded that our services are still on Facebook and YouTube. Just search RCCG Great Sanctuary Parish Saskatoon, and you will find all our videos there according to the days of service. And also for further announcement to be communicated to us before the end of the service or via the church WhatsApp page. And I pray that every one of us will receive a blessing this new week in the mighty name of Jesus. As we launch out, the presence of the Lord will go with us in the name of Jesus. And lest I forget, these glasses, somebody forgot it. So if it's yours or you know whoever owns it, please walk up to the ushers. They will give it to you. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. It's offering time. Offering time. It's a Bible verse I love so much. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7. It says, what do you have that the Lord has not given you? Everything that we have, everything that we own is God's favor, is God's mercy. I want us to rise up on our feet as we package our offering and appreciate the King of Kings for the privilege to even give this morning. If you don't have something, appreciate him for the gift of life. Appreciate him that you are walking in the sanctuary. Yeah, they didn't will you here. You are not on the sick bed. Just give God all the praise. Appreciate him with your offering. Father, we give you all the glory. We give you all the honor. We thank you, Lord, for the privilege, Lord, to give to you this morning. May your name be glorified, for in Jesus' name we pray.
Since I was born, and now I am getting old, I have never seen the Lord change it. Since I was born, and now I am getting old, I have never seen the Lord change it. Brother, have you seen? No, 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 no. Since I was born, I have never seen the Lord change it. Sister, have you seen? No, 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 no. Since I was born, I have never seen the Lord change it. Since I was born, and now I am getting old, I have never seen the Lord change it. Since I was born, and now I am getting old, I have never seen the Lord change it. Brother, have you seen? No, 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 no. Since I was born, I have never seen the Lord change it. For me, have you seen? No, 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 no. Since I was born, I have never seen the Lord change it. Hail my Jesus, glorious, 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 he reigns. Hail my Jesus, glorious, glorious, he reigns. Hail my Jesus, glorious, 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 he reigns. Hail my Jesus, glorious, glorious, he reigns.
In Jesus' name. Father, we give all the glory, we give all the honor, we give all the adoration. Thank you, Lord, for everything. Thank you, Lord, for this offering. We pray, Lord, that you shall accept this in Jesus' name. And let your name be glorified, for in Jesus' name we pray.
Cast me not away from your presence, O Lord. Take not your spirit from me. For me is God unto me, the joy of my salvation. Renew thy spirit within me. Father in heaven, I thank you for the service of today. We honor you, we adore you because of what you have done and what you will continue to do. King of glory, I commit your children unto you. Let your abiding presence continue to be with them even as they live here in the mighty name of Jesus. According to your word, you will never leave them, you never forsake them. You will continually be with them in the mighty name of Jesus. Even in the midst of challenges, Father, you will appear and do what you alone can do in the mighty name of Jesus. Your word says, let no man trouble me, because I bear in my body the mark of the Lord Jesus. Let your mark be visible upon this one, so that every arrow, the one thrown by day or the one by night, it shall never come near their dwellings in the mighty name of Jesus. I pray, Father, that this one, they are marked for greatness. They are marked for testimony in the mighty name of Jesus. By the time they shall come back next week, Father, oh Lord, I pray that grant them to share testimony in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, Father, because I pray answering God. I'm committing our building project unto you, Lord, Father. Have your way, Lord. In the mighty name of Jesus. The heart of people that are involved one way or the other, touch their hearts so that very soon we shall have a place that we can call our own. In the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, Father, because I pray answering God. We give you glory forever. For in Jesus' mighty name we are praying. Let's share the grace in fellowship. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore. Amen. Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our life, and we shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Let's sing a family song. To do something different today. What you are going to do is that the newcomers and the people that just returned back from Nigeria,